Alright, so today we ran over to Robert's house. And we have this warped board here. I don't know if you can see this. This was just a drop. See how warped that is? It's just a drop off one of the boards that I cut. It was thrown on the side. My sister wanted something to put her laptop on. So we cut this, and she was using this for her laptop. So we cut this for my sister so she could have something to put her laptop on when it's in her lap. And you can see right there, it's really kind of warped. It's too heavy. You know, it's about an inch thick. Very rough. I sanded it a bit, but it's still kind of rough. It hasn't been planed or anything. So we came down here to Robert's. We're going to plane it down. We're going to round the corners, round the edges, and just make it about 3/8 to a 1/2 inch thick so it's nice and light. And then I'll take it home and epoxy it. You can see up here at this end, it's got a hole. It's got a piece of wood missing here. It's got another piece of wood missing over here, some bark inclusion that came out. So we're just going to see how nice we can make it. You know, plane it down and make it smooth and light. That's the planer there. Robert's got a nice little shop here. He's got his workbench over there. His air compressors in the back. You can see it there. He's got a jigsaw, drill press. This is a gang drill here. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a bunch of drill bits. You can drill a bunch of holes at once for like putting shelves up where you put those pins in. There's his wood rack. Some more wood on the floor here. That's a table saw. This is a little router table. Bosch. That's the planer there. That's a nice little planer. We use that to do the wood that I put on the walls upstairs in the barn. And then he's got his chop saw sitting there. You can see outside. You can see outside the back over there. So it's pretty decent. He's got this hood up here to suck up sawdust when he's sanding on the table there. Got his toolboxes. Alright, so there's Robert. And he's going to run it through the planer here, and we've got dust collection going there all the way up top and then out back. He's got to go turn that on. It's going to get loud. came out nice.
Make sure it's half inch. Planer's that half.
No, it looks good.
Yep.
Much lighter.
Yeah.
Right?
Twists and stuff came out of there too, which I was surprised. Because normally the twists won't come out, but the crowns will.
Yep. So round the corners and make it smooth, and that way when you put your hands on it, there's no edges, no nothing.
How round do you want the crown?
Just round.
We can go.
We could just sand them for all I care. I
Do
mean,
you want a big round on like this?
No.
Or not that big?
I'd say not that big.
So we probably want to square up the edges.
Make them smooth, yeah.
Nice.
He even got his router.
These points make it sanded better. 80 grit. Want a 120 on there, make it smoother?
Sure, hit it with 120. I'll epoxy it when I get home. You take something like that, cut it about here, cut a handle in it, and it'd be a nice cutting board.
Yeah.
This is the board that we had Robert plane down. And here, I'll just show this to you. Right here, we have a big hole, and it goes clear through to the back side. And over here, we have a small hole, and then here, we have a piece missing that goes out to the end. And here, we have a crack that goes all the way through. So what I'm going to do is fill them with epoxy. And to do that, I need to plug up the back side. We're going to put a piece over here on this edge. I'll leave some of the tape sticking up. That's not going to work, George. There you go. Some of the tape sticking up and the rest of it covering the hole. So this is all covered now on the back side, so it won't leak. And now I got to cover this crack. So you got to cover the back of the crack and the side here. And leave some tape sticking up. And then we have this hole, and that does not go through. So I think that's it. So I like to use these things. They're just little stands that you can put under the board. Like that. And like that. The board sits on it and it's up off the tape. I want to fill this with a color, and probably this piece and the crack. So I'm going to go pick out a color and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back, and I decided I'm going to use copper. It's a copper mica powder, so you get kind of swirls in it too. It's kind of cool. Should be interesting. And we're going to use casting epoxy because whenever you're filling a crack like this and you want it to adhere together, you need to use an epoxy that hardens really hard. Countertop epoxy remains flexible. If you pick a piece up, wait, I think I got a piece here. Okay. So this is countertop epoxy that's been sitting around for a while. See how it's still flexible? It still bends like that. That is great for a countertop because if you bang down with something hard, you won't hurt it. It won't crack on you. But when you're filling this or filling one of these, you need to use something that's hard so it holds the wood in real tight. So that's this casting epoxy. Anyway, I'm not sure how much I'm going to need, but it's a 2-to-1, so I'll probably go 40 grams. This is the one that's 2. Oops. Okay, 50. So 50 grams of that, 25 grams of the other part, and we should be good to go. A little bit of color, we'll mix it right up. 75. All right. Put a little of this in it. I'm not going to mix too much. That should do. You can always put more, you can't take any out. You can see the swirls that you get in there. So when you mix epoxy, make sure you scrape the sides and the bottom, especially if you put the thicker of the two epoxy parts in first. You can also use 2 cups, mix it in 1 cup, dump it back in the other cup, mix it, dump it back in the first cup. You just got to make sure you mix it real well. Wow, that's going to be pretty. Look at that. The way the light hits that, that's pretty cool. All right, let me get the scale out of the way, get the color away. Oh, if you're wondering where that color comes from, I don't know. It comes from The Best Gift, Have a Nice Day. There's no other labels on there. That's what it shows on the colors. Oh, my glasses on, or I'd read it to you, but it's good stuff. It's a bunch of different mica powder colors. Any mica powder will do the same thing. Mr. Zameni. There, okay? I hope you're happy. All right, so I'm just going to pour this in. I'm going to drizzle it in some places, like there. And over here on this crack. I'll let that settle in. I'll have to put more on it because it'll soak in, no doubt. And here I'm going to pour some. Oh, I guess I made a whole lot extra. Not a problem. We'll find a mold and we'll fill that mold. But I'm gonna put some on every place there's a little blemish, just so it fills in. That's actually flat, don't have to worry about that. I drizzle it around like this just to make a neat pattern, which will probably end up sanding it all off anyway, but you never know. Okay, so that's all of that. Let me grab a mold. I think we'll use this. Make sure it's clean before you use it. There we go. All right, now we just let that sit for 24 hours. Then we come back and I'll show you what's next. All right, so the epoxy's dried. There's that hole that I filled. There's some bubbles right there. That is filled. The crack is filled. I peeled the tape off. You can see the other side. Didn't leak too bad. So the board is pretty much sealed for those holes. What I'm going to do now is sand this off, and then I'm going to put a seal coat over the whole board so that when I do the flood coat, we don't get any bubbles. So let me fix the camera here for you. And I'm just going to sand this down right now. I need to get a piece of fresh sandpaper. Back in a second. So this is 80 grit sandpaper, because I just got to take all the extra epoxy off, so it's only left in the fill areas. You can see it's plugging up my sandpaper pretty well. So the idea is to get all the epoxy stain off the wood. Okay, that was 80 grit. Now I'm going to 220 grit. That ought to do it. Now we can go inside and put another coat on. Before I put another coat on, I gotta clean all the dust off it. Undersides too. As you can see, epoxy that we poured yesterday, it's dry, but it's not hard. I don't know if you can see that, it's bending. But this, we ought to be able to undo now. See how it turned out. This was that extra little bit we had. Well, there, I got a new coaster out of it. That's what you do with the extra material. So, sand the bottom a little bit, get rid of this sharp edge, and it should be good to go. I can go put it in the house. This now, that's really weird. There's 6 little holes right there. This is going to get coated with a seal coat now of clear. And I have to do this, and I also have 3 boards of Chris's I have to do at the same time. When you put the clear on, you just pour some out and you smear it with your gloved hand all over it. Just make sure everything's covered. That's nice and smooth. So that's the process I went through to shape and seal up all the flaws in this board. If you want to see the process for doing the epoxy coating, this nice shiny coating, I have Epoxy Shelves video. This board is in there where I coated it. You can watch that. And well, yeah, here's the finished product. You can see there's some curl in the maple. It's sealed up real nice. It's good and hard. The hole is filled. The crack over here is stabilized. It ain't moving. It works good for like a laptop board. If you put it on your lap, put your laptop on it. Yeah. That's it. That's the finished product. I did not flood coat it. You can see there's some chips in the wood there. I don't know if you can see those good, but they're smoothed out. The epoxy sealed them up. So, single piece of wood, great for a laptop board. Thanks for watching.